All right, so starting from right to left, this is our control panel. You've got your vent fan remote. If you just point this at your vent fan in the back and hit power, that'll turn it on and off. And then your fan speed are these two up and down buttons. This button right here reverses the flow of the fan. So if the fan's sucking out and you want it to blow air in, you just press that button and it'll slow down. And that's really all you need to worry about on that. Moving to the left, we've got your water tank gauge. This stays on all the time, so you always know how much water you have. And then this is your Victron BMV. This is your battery monitor. So there's all kinds of confusing data in here. You really don't have to worry about any of this. The two screens that I do want to point out are your the screen with the A on it. This is your amperage screen. So this shows you how much power you're either consuming or charging. So this is a great screen to look at if you plug the van up to shore power and you want to know, is it working? Or you're out in the sun and you want to know, are we getting enough solar? Right now this is showing a -12, so that tells me that we are using 12 amps of power. That means we're draining the batteries right now. If you plugged up to the campground, this might say 70 or +70, which means we're charging the batteries. It means we're bringing in more than we're using. So this is a good screen just if you're an electronic nerd and you like to know that kind of stuff. But the most important screen for most people is going to be this percentage screen. You got a little percentage up here, 74.4%. That is how charged our batteries are right now. You don't really want this to get below 20%. It's set up to beep at you if they're really dead. So the screen will flash and it will beep if they get super low, but I would aim to keep this above 20%. If you're out using the van and it goes below 20%, then you need to either plug up to the campground, turn off some things that are consuming a lot of power, or pull out into the solar or crank the van to charge it. So I'm going to move over to our diesel heater. It is a 98-degree day, but I'm going to turn this on anyway just for you guys because I love you. So when you turn it on, this is what your screen should look like. You're going to see the 3 wavy arrows right there. That means heat mode. You hit the circle and it tells you what temperature you have your heater set to. So let's say it's the winter and you want to set your van to 70 degrees. You just hit the center button. Now you've got a timer screen. This is going to ask you how long do you want your heater to run. So if you just want it to like heat up the van for the morning before you go hit the slopes or something, you can set it to 60 minutes or something. But if you wind it all the way down to the very bottom, you will see an infinity symbol. Infinity is what I set it to. That's just like your thermostat at home. It's going to stay on as long as until you run out of gas. It's going to stay on all night long, all day long. This is also great if you are camping in the cold and you want to come back to a warm van. You can set it to like 60 degrees or something and go hiking for hours and come back to a warm van. So that's great. So I'm going to click it on heat mode. Once it's on heat mode, the ring turns red. That's how you know it's working. The fan will start spooling up. You won't normally see this service screen. That's because I need to run a service on it. But once it is heated, you'll then hit the center button again. You'll see off. Hit the off screen and it will turn the heater back off. So that's how the heater works. Moving over to your control panel. This is a big upgrade from Everest. This is how our switches work now. I'll just turn them all off and move from left to right. So, or even actually start on the top right. So if you hit the power button, all that does is light up your touch panel. So if it's nighttime and you need to see what you're doing, you can do that. You've got your water pump switch right here. You've got your floodlights, which are these outdoor awning lights. You've got your dome lights, which are our overhead lights. And then you've got your cargo lights, which are the underbed lights. And then we've got our refrigerator on the switch. So if you want to make sure that the fridge is on all the time so that you can, so that all your groceries stay fresh. The inverter is already on. I'm going to click it off just so you can see what that looks like. So your inverter is what powers all of your 120 volt systems. And what that means is the 3-pronged outlets in your home, and then the big power consumers like your microwave, your hot water heater, those kinds of things. So if you're not plugged up to, if you plug up to a campground, this screen will automatically light up. It'll automatically start charging everything. If you're not at a campground and you want to power any of those things, you just hit this little round button. You'll hear the inverter click on in the back, and then these displays will start showing some volts and watts here in a second. Once these are on, this is going to send power to your breakers, and now I'm going to show you your breakers and how to work those. All right, so this is your breaker panel. If you're at a campground and you're plugged up to shore power, this will have power. Or if you turn on the inverter like we just talked about, that also sends power to this if you're not at a campground. And then this is what sends power to all the different outlets. So this top button are your actual outlets, like this right here, your three-pronged outlets that are all throughout the van. The second one is your microwave. Once I click this, you'll hear it beep. And then the third one is your hot water heater. So the hot water heater, you want to make sure you only turn this switch on when you need hot water. Don't leave it on all the time. It draws a ton of power. Turn it on, and your hot water heater takes about 30 minutes to heat up all the water inside of it, and then you'll have hot water. And then when you're done using it, make sure you turn it off. That's just a good rule of thumb with any RV or camper van. If you're not using it, turn it off. All right, so this is your shore power breaker. I wanted to go ahead and point this out to you. So if you're at a campground and you're plugged up and you're not getting power, it could be because this breaker on the front of the electrical box is flipped. So right now you can see the breaker's off. That means if you plug up to shore power, nothing's gonna have power. And then if you flip it on, that should then start sending power to your batteries, your breakers, your charging, all that good stuff. This will light up. We're not plugged up to shore power right now, so it's not going to light up, but it will when you're at a campground. There's no reason to have to flip this down, but if you are to like overload the outlet or something's unsafe at the campground, it may trip on its own, just like a breaker in your house. And once you figure out why it's tripping and hopefully get a safe outlet, then you can flip that right back on and everything will start working again. Do not touch this button right here. Roll Tide.